Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Peg and I'm obsessed with everything DIY and organization. I love crafting to create high-end looking pieces, making handmade skincare products and candles, and of course trash to treasure projects that are budget friendly and easy to make. If you like budget friendly DIY projects, then please give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. In today's video, we're going to be creating a couple of different projects with supplies that I purchased from the Dollar Tree, some supplies that I already had on hand, and some supplies that I found at Walmart. So without further ado, let's get on into it. Okay, let's jump right on into this. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove the stickers. Sometimes I need a little help from the heat tool, heat gun, whatever you want to call it. Get my paints ready, wipe my project down, that way there's no dust or anything. And in this one, I decided I'm going to put the first base coat of the Waverly chalk paint in Elephant. And I'm just going to go ahead and cover the entire thing really well. There is a raised texture on this planter, so I took my time. I like to get every little nook and cranny in there that I can, make sure everything's covered well before I put a second coat on it. And of course you want to let your coats dry really well in between. And then once everything's dried, I'm going to take my Waverly chalk paint in mineral and just have very little paint on the brush. I'm going to do some distressing over the little raised areas of the planter, which made it super easy to do. Got a little heavy-handed in one spot, but that's okay. That was going to be the back of the planter. So once I get all that done, and it's all a personal preference how much you want to distress, but this is what mine looks like. And then the next thing I do, of course, is I am going to use this as soon as it's done drying, because I can't wait to get my new plant into it, is I'm going to go ahead and pop out those little holes at the bottom, that allows for water drainage. And so once I get all of those popped out, the little plastic pieces removed, which took me a little longer than it should. Not sure what was going on there, but anyway, I'm sure there's an easier way to do this. So the next thing I'm going to do is dress up this planter a little bit. So I have some of this jute cord or rope, whatever you want to call it, from the Dollar Tree, the thicker stuff. And I'm just going to run a line of that around the ridge of this planter. I'm going to go all the way around, cut it off, where the end piece meets the beginning piece, and then I'm going to start a new row, because I don't want the, sometimes if you just continue on, it makes your rows uneven. I wanted them all to be even, because I'm kind of crazy like that. And so with every row, I would come to where I started, snip off the end, glue it down, start a new row, all in the same cohesive look, because I wanted to make sure that everything looked very cohesive and not, that I rushed to do it. And on this one, I was able to get 4 rows of that jute cord on here. And I didn't glue with every wrap. I just glued in little spots here or there. I would run a bead of glue, press it on, hold it on, because I didn't want the rope to eventually fall down. So I did use beads of hot glue here and there, just to make sure that everything stayed solid and snug and secure. And then once I got all of that done, my 4 rows done, then I'm going to take my lighter and I'm going to burn off all those little hairy pieces that are on there, because the stuff from the Dollar Tree tends to be pretty fuzzy and I just don't like that. So I wanted it all to be smoothed out and ready to go. And here's a quick little look at the finished piece. And then here is the original that I purchased from the Dollar Tree, and my finished product with my lovely little plant in it. I'm absolutely in love with this project. I love how it turned out. Okay, so with this next Dollar Tree planter, I'm going to take my Waverly chalk paint and silver lining and just do a good solid coat on this. I chose not to do a second coat on this because I'm going to do quite a bit of distressing on it, and I didn't want it too thick because the green coming through the white with the distress color that I'm going to use, I figured would go really well. So I'm pretty impatient. I hurry up and use my heat gun tool so I can move on to the distressing part. And I'm going to take some watered down elephant in Waverly, of course, and just run it over the top until I'm satisfied with the results. I did thin it down a bit because I wanted that elephant to blend well with the silver lining. I didn't want harsh lines, and I believe I even added just a touch of the antique wax, the Waverly antique wax in there, because I wanted a little bit of browns and grays to blend in well. And I just go over it until I'm satisfied, and once I am, then we're ready to dry it and get something in it. Here's the before, and you can see it's pretty plain Jane, looks plastic, and here's the finished product. I did add some jute twine to the top for a little more decoration, so you'll have to let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, so I found this wooden arrow at Ross for $2.99, and I couldn't pass it up. So I'm just taking my little Dollar Tree sanding block, sanding down all of the rough edges and prepping it because I'm going to stain it. And I just wipe it down with a wet rag and then a dry rag. And I'm going to take some Waverly antique wax and apply a thin coat, wipe some off until I get the right look that I wanted, because I wasn't quite sure exactly what I was going to do with this right away. And then I decided I was going to do some distressing on it. So I've got the Waverly chalk paint. I believe this is the mineral chalk paint. So I used dry brushing, but then I dipped in the water to kind of like help the paint blend better so that there wasn't such like chunky lines and harsh lines in it. And I went over and over this. It took me forever and ever to get it just the way that I wanted it to. I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to leave one side bare, distress the other side in case I wanted to make it a sign that I wanted to, be able to like make a reversible sign. But in the end, I decided to go ahead and distress all of it. And my daughter, who's in college, is going to be moving into her own place soon, and her name is Keely. We call her Keys for short. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to make a Keys rack for her to put up in her new place. I'm going to add some stickers that I got from Walmart. I can never find them at my Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to put two little screws in the bottom of them there so that she will have a place to hang her keys when she moves in. And I also didn't get footage of it, but I attached a little sawtooth hanger on the back of it so that she'd be able to hang it. And then I realized I should probably go ahead and put some Mod Podge on this just to kind of seal everything and make sure that the stickers don't come off, and just seal everything really good so that the wood stays protected and she doesn't have any issues with the stickers coming off. So I go ahead and apply a coat of the Mod Podge just to make sure everything is sealed well. And here's the finished project. You'll have to let me know what you think about it in the comments below.